Namaskar. In today's lecture, under the paper of microwave electronics, we will discuss about the microwave tubes, in which in the further lectures we will discuss about the klystron, magnetron and travelling wave tubes. So in the present lecture, we will discuss about the non requirement of the and the non-performance of the conventional vacuum tubes. In our previous lectures, we have discussed about the introduction to the microwaves and the waveguide theory, and also about the resonant cavities. So, in order to produce microwaves, first we discuss that why the conventional vacuum tubes are not efficient sources of microwave energy. So, as we know that transmission of energy in a microwave system is associated with the passage of traveling electromagnetic waves along the waveguide. The question of generation of these waves can be resolved by energy conversion. Now, if the source of energy is a battery or a similar DC supply, how is the static potential energy of the electrons in the battery to be converted to the energy of the EM fields in the waveguide? So the related problem at lower radio frequencies is solved by the use of the multi-electrode vacuum tubes. So the multi-electrode vacuum tubes are the conventional vacuum tube devices in which there are diode, triode, tetrode and pentode are the devices, are the vacuum tubes effectively used in earlier days of the electronics. In the case of triode, tetrode and pentode, an alternating potential on the control grid permits an AC to flow in the plate circuit in the form of the anode current. A satisfactory simple picture can be considered in which the tube is regarded as a valve controlling the flow of the electrons in the anode conductor. The electron flow in a wire then can be converted to the EM waves in a waveguide by means of a probe or loop coupling. So this point we have discussed in our waveguide theory. Now, in the case of conventional vacuum tubes, here we will discuss that these will be no longer efficient source of currents at microwave frequencies. So, this point we can discuss here. So, here as we know that the conventional vacuum tubes are designed upon which their efficient design is based, namely that the electrons pass from cathode to anode in a time short compared with the period of the anode potential. So this fact will no longer holds true at microwave frequencies, for example at about 10 to the power 9 and 10 to the power 10 cycles per second. Now, as we know that in vacuum tubes the gap between the cathode and the anode is of 1 or 2 centimeters. So the velocity acquired by the electrons in moving from rest through a potential difference of V volts is approximately equal to 6 into 10 to the power 7 root V centimeter per second. So this can be calculated by using the equation half mv square equal to E into V. V means here potential, because the electrons at the rest when were accelerated by applying a potential V volts between cathode and anode, the kinetic energy acquired by these electrons is equal to the work done by the electric field on the electrons. So by using this fact we have calculated here this velocity. Hence a transit time of the order of magnitude of 10 to the power minus 8 second may be acquired for an electron from cathode to anode to reach the distance between cathode to anode in a conventional vacuum tubes, assuming the distance between cathode and anode is about 1 centimeter. Now the grid and the anode potentials may alternate from 10 to 100 times in the case when we will apply a AC signal between the grid and the cathode having the frequency in the microwave region. So during this much frequency, during the electron transit, the anode potential during the negative part of its cycle thus removes energy that was given to the electron during the phase of the positive anode potential between the grid and the cathode. So this fact, as we use in the case of amplifiers, that we will apply a signal of a small amplitude in the control grid circuit and an amplified signal in the plate circuit we will obtain. So this fact here could not be hold in the case of microwave frequencies, because the frequency of the signal applied between control grid and cathode changes very rapidly. So and the electron transit time is much larger than this, so that could not pass the signals in a synchronized manner from control grid to the anode circuit. So overall effect of this transit time effect is the reduction in the operating efficiency of the vacuum tube. So this problem become more severe on increasing the frequency. So if we try to reduce the transit time by either increasing the cathode to anode potential or by decreasing the spacing between cathode to anode. So in these two cases, if we increase the anode potential, that will overheat the tube and it may be damaged, and in the second case, if we reduce the spacing between cathode and anode, that will increase the excessive inter-electrode capacitance between the two plates. So hence we could not use both of these two methods to reduce the transit time. So the overall effect is that the conventional vacuum tubes are not efficient source of microwave energy. So we will search for other tubes working on different methods, one of which is velocity modulation, which is used in the case of klystrons, that is two cavity klystron and reflex klystron, and in the case of magnetrons and traveling wave tubes, the electron beam will interact so many times with the field. So although there were many difficulties and details of design among the various microwave tubes, so the potential energy of electrons at the battery terminals is converted into the kinetic energy of the beam or the flux of rapidly moving electrons. The electron beam then interacts with the time varying fields of that part of the microwave system which is included within the tube. If the interaction proceeds in such a way that the velocity of the electrons is lowered after the interaction, then the kinetic energy removed from the electrons can reappear as energy of the electromagnetic fields. Thus, in the steady state, the tube may act as a source of microwave energy. Tubes may be classified into two groups: those in which the electron stream interacts with AC fields over only a relatively short interval in space, and those in which the electron beams interact with the microwave frequency fields over most of its trajectory. So the tubes in the first category are klystrons, and in the second category include magnetron and traveling wave tubes. In our next lectures, we will discuss the construction and design of the two cavity klystron, in which we will discuss the velocity modulation, density modulation, current modulation, and after that how the tubes can act as amplifier and oscillators. We will also discuss it, and we will find out the expressions for the output power and the efficiency of the two cavity klystron and reflex klystron. Thank you.